2024 has been a tough year for EVs, and like some other automakers, Mercedes too has called it quits on EVs. Mercedes CEO Ola Källenius recently announced that the company will be abandoning its EV plans and shifting focus elsewhere. Are EVs done? In today's video, we break down 6 reasons for this shocking decision. All electric, all expensive. The first reason Mercedes CEO Ola Källenius is calling it quits on EVs is because of the high costs involved. It's no secret that while electric vehicles are better for the environment, they still cost a lot more to produce than their gas-powered counterparts. One of the main reasons for this higher cost of EVs is their batteries. Batteries are the heart of any EV and the main source of power for everything in an EV, from its electric motors to the infotainment system. And these batteries cost a lot of time and money to produce. Electric vehicle batteries are made from a combination of raw materials such as aluminum, copper, iron, cobalt, nickel, manganese, graphite, and lithium. Extracting these resources from the earth contributes to the higher price of electric vehicles compared to gasoline or diesel vehicles. However, Mercedes is known to be a high-end automaker, usually sparing no costs to ensure their vehicles are packed with premium parts from top to bottom. A great sacrifice, but one that has earned the company critical acclaim globally. However, the high cost of production of electric vehicles has resulted in astronomical price tags on most of their electric vehicles, scaring even former customers away. One of the cheapest options, the Mercedes EQB, although great, costs over $53,000 on average and offers a subpar range. The more premium options average $100,000 and still come with some of the age-old problems associated with EVs. The most worrying part for Mercedes is that even with these high price tags, they are somehow losing money on every EV sold. Thankfully, they're not selling a lot because people are scared of the prices. This leads us to the second reason why Mercedes-Benz is shifting away from EVs. Low sales numbers. To say that Mercedes' EVs are not flying out of dealerships would be a gross understatement. Many dealerships have been struggling with selling not just Mercedes EVs, but EVs in general. It should be known that this is not due to a lack of supply, but a gross lack of demand, primarily from high price tags. According to recent data, Mercedes-Benz dealers took an average of 82 days to sell the brand's battery-powered vehicles, the EQ models. One Mercedes store operator claims to have over 6 months' worth of electric vehicles in stock, whereas they typically have around a 50-day supply of gasoline-powered vehicles. The reality is that EVs were heavily invested in and marketed because many companies saw Tesla's growth rate and sales numbers and used that to make wild projections. The euphoria with EVs has cooled, and many automakers like Mercedes are feeling the heat. It doesn't matter how many cars you supply or how much marketing you do, you can't force people to buy cars that they don't want. The larger group of people that made EV sales skyrocket in the 2021s and 2022s were early adopters who believed electric cars were the future and were eager to show their commitment to embracing the future and making the world a better place. However, after experiencing the pain of early adoption, many of these early EV buyers are refusing to buy more EVs as they have seen firsthand that EVs just aren't there yet. Mercedes is not blind to these issues. Hence, they have taken steps to correct them. So how do you fix the problem of low sales numbers due to incredibly expensive vehicles? Easy! You make more affordable ones. This leads us to the third and boldest indicator that Mercedes is quitting on EVs. Affordable options. In response to its poor sales numbers and declining profits, Mercedes has decided to shift away from making high-end EVs, and they are going back to what works. The company has always portrayed itself as consumer-centric in that it is only interested in making what consumers want. While Mercedes, like many other automakers, assumed that federal laws would force panic buys and boost EV sales, that is yet to happen. In reaction, Ola Källenius has announced a slew of affordable vehicles that will hit the market soon. But the big reveal is that these vehicles will be gas-powered. You heard that right, gas-powered. While Mercedes initially had a target to make all of its vehicles electric by 2025, it seems that the goal has now been adjusted thanks to poor demand, high production costs, and general problems with EVs. It has now pushed its earlier target to 2030 as it shifts gears to focus on what it is best known for: producing combustion engine cars. This means that the development of their new EV platform for their next generation of EVs, the MB.EA large architecture, has been put on hold. Instead, it will update its current platform and focus on making simpler EVs, as well as gas guzzlers on the MMA and MRA2 platforms. These plans show that Mercedes is not exactly giving up on EVs, but restructuring to balance its books and keep up with the competition. The fourth reason why Mercedes is taking a step back from EVs is because of the stiff competition that currently exists in the EV space. Companies like Tesla and BYD have made profit-making in EVs a distant dream for others, with crazy price cuts and slashes in production costs that most can't keep up with. Other big names like GM and Ford are feeling the heat too, as they struggle to turn a profit in the EV space. If you haven't seen our latest video on GM and their plans to quit EVs, you should. It's an entertaining watch. But the competition is only part of the problem. The US's trade problems with China have made most of the raw materials required to make lithium-ion batteries and other EV components hard and expensive to come by. This is only made worse by the fact that Chinese companies are heavily invested in topping the EV market, and their nearness to important resources is making it easier. To top these big problems off, 2023 was a tough year for EVs, and many experts already predicted that 2024 would be tougher. Stall in growth of EVs. The stall in the growth of EVs is another reason Mercedes' CEO is switching things up. As we mentioned before, EVs have passed their peak sales point, and even Tesla, which has a large share of the market, is seeing a decline in sales numbers. A few years ago, the transition to an electric car future seemed inevitable. Tesla had achieved a $1 trillion market cap. Hertz had made a $4 billion deal with Tesla to supply its rental fleet. The Biden administration had announced a goal for EVs to make up 50% of new vehicle sales by 2030, and GM had committed to 100% EV sales by 2035. However, as we entered 2024, the situation changed. In 2023, Tesla repeatedly discounted its cars, cutting the price of its popular Model S by nearly 25%. Hertz revealed plans to sell off its Teslas, and GM announced it would be stepping back from its immediate EV targets, delaying the production of its EV pickup and ending a joint EV venture with Honda. The market has hit a challenging stage in the technology adoption lifecycle. Automakers and policymakers can no longer rely on the preferences of early EV adopters for their planning. To increase sales and appeal to a wider audience, they must address a different array of interests and concerns. Consumers have shown that price cuts and government regulations alone won't drive adoption in the EV market. Aside from the higher price tags of EVs, consumers are still worried about range limitations, charging issues, limited infrastructure, low reliability scores, and rising interest rates. It's clear that a bridge is still needed to reach an all-electric future, and the stakeholders are seeing it too. This leads us to our sixth and final reason: potential postponement of federal laws. It has become apparent that the previous goals set by Biden for emissions were overly optimistic and are a poor reflection of the current economic state of the country. In response to the slow adoption of EVs, there are rumors that the United States will postpone the deadline earlier imposed on automakers. This has led to the bold decision of automakers like Mercedes and GM to shift away from EVs for a while and resume making ICEs, hybrids, and more practical vehicles for the foreseeable future. We believe that, like Mercedes, many other automakers would go back to the drawing board and review their plans for the future. What do you think about Mercedes' decision to move away from EVs temporarily? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more insightful content, and we'll see you next time.